Assalamu alaikum dear viewers. Hope you are all well. My today's talk is about Al Jazeera's recent publication Why Iran May Become a Latent Nuclear State, published on 29 November 2021 by Marwan Bishara. I want to discuss. The article says, as the negotiations to salvage the 2015 Iran nuclear agreement resume in Vienna, it is a deja vu all over again. The United States warns of crippling sanctions, Israel threatens war, the Europeans plead and prod, and the Arabs watch from sidelines as Iran drags out the talks and accelerates its uranium enrichment. Except this time, diplomacy seems destined to fail, leaving the door open to a number of scenarios which, thanks to former US President Donald Trump and his Middle East brain trust, former Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, include war and or the distinct possibility of Iran becoming a latent nuclear state. After all, it was Trump who decided to nuke the internationally recognized 2015 agreement after repeatedly condemning it as rotten and disastrous. He abandoned it in 2018 on the basis of unsubstantiated and unrelated allegations. To make matters worse, Trump imposed new crippling sanctions on Iran, including secondary sanctions on third parties trading with the country, and ordered the assassination of its most revered general Qasem Soleimani. The article says, most importantly, it renewed its uranium enrichment program, bringing it ever closer to weapons grade level. Today, Tehran insists its return to the agreement is conditional on the Biden administration's lifting all sanctions imposed after 2017, whether nuclear related or not. It expects Washington to provide the necessary guarantees that no future administration may abandon the deal again, and it will wait for proof that the sanctions are totally and truly lifted before making any moves towards the agreement. It also rejects any or all discussions of its missile systems and regional role. The article also says, as mistrusts runs deep and expectations run wild, a return to the 2015 agreement is looking utterly improbable and terribly insufficient to settle the nuclear issue. That is why the Biden administration is contemplating the use of so-called Plan B, which includes a stronger diplomatic pressure and tougher economic sanctions against Iran. But then again, this is a policy that has been tried and has failed many times. What is the point of redeploying it? knowing Iran could accelerate its uranium enrichment to the 90% needed to become a nuclear state, while its hardline government boasts mounting economic resistance against American imperialism. If America does not play it carefully, it may have to go at it alone. Russia and China are not going to join any new American pressure campaign against Iran, considering their tensions with the Biden administration. It is doubtful the Europeans will join either, without a realistic endgame in sight. That is why the US has recently warned that all options are on the table. But we have heard that before regarding the Taliban in Afghanistan, and look how that turned out. We have also had it muttered on Ukraine, Taiwan, Venezuela, Syria, North Korea, etc. The article says neither Washington nor Tehran is interested in military escalation. Biden's strategy is to largely disengage militarily from the Middle East hotspot, not get drawn into a quagmire worse than the Iraq War. The article also opined that Tehran may no longer be accelerating its enrichment to use as leverage in the negotiations as it did prior to the 2015 agreement, but rather to become a de facto latent nuclear state. What does it mean? A latent nuclear state is not a nuclear power. It is a state that possesses the know-how and the resources to quickly become one, much like Japan, which is also a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty (NPT). By contrast, Israel, which is a nuclear power, is not a signatory. In fact, Iran has long wanted to be like Japan. Iranians who see Japan as a model to emulate have long considered it a double standard, that Japan can have the fuel cycle and stay happily in the NPT, but Iran cannot. Iran may be more interested at this point in time in becoming a latent nuclear state like Japan than a nuclear power like India, Pakistan, or Israel. Regarding this article, I want to say that Iran has already achieved more modern weaponry or technologies such as missile, ballistic missile, drones, jet planes, rockets, satellites, submarines, etc. And finally, it is a latent nuclear power that can easily make a nuclear bomb when it needs. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.